going to be able to do it here in our second Air Gale of the finals. And who is going to win this one? We're about to find out.
With dual gaming chipsets and a 144Hz AMOLED screen, the GT20 Pro will equip teams with up to 120 FPS, which is also the first batch of supported devices, offering esports level performance and visually stunning experiences in the 2024 PMWC. Ooh, this plane path, it's pretty spicy. Out from George Polk down to the military base. We've had a little bit more east preference on the plane path in the first match. This time we're going for a heavy west preference.
Yeah, heavy western preference. This is going to be a very, very difficult one for a lot of squads. You normally like to see teams like, you know, Talon head on over to that Yasnaya area. They're going to have a difficult time being able to get there. I'm looking to try to see what Team Liquid is going to do, because you know they like to drop near that shelter area, but their secondary drop location is going to be on the edge of military base, so it looks like they are going to be doing some split looting, but every single one of these teams knows that this is their secondary spot with a plane path, so they're going to have to be very, very careful of their rotation.
I'm looking at TJB and Power right now. Both looked like they might want to go to Zaki on a backup drop, but I think TJB diverted, grabbed some vehicles, likely to see them head potentially towards Severny.
That's right.
They might have some company there. I mean, that's their standard drop spot, right? So they don't want to get too close to Power if they can help it. Zaki, not ideal. And the plane path was on the west this time, so the circle goes on the east. You know, that's just how it worked. Seems to be anyway. TJB, if they can get over to Severny, they have a lot of rotational paths across Stauber at their disposal. Two teams on the military base, a couple of teams in the middle, but no one taking a full fight just yet. Talon may be close by to it.
I'm still looking at TJB. They're spending quite a bit of time near Power. Maybe they were just trying to go back to pick up their teammates, and it looks like that is what is happening. So they are going to be able to drive on over to Severny. Power looking not to challenge DRX at all in Gatka. That's very, very interesting. Instead, they say, you know what, forget it. We don't want to be dealing with any more hot drops, especially after that Sandhawk. They decide to hold on to Zarki. Everything else looking very normal right now. We're going to see Team Reject go on over to Roshawk. That is where they like to loot. And everything seems pretty standard. Most squads avoiding an engagement early on. And that's very, very impressive, especially considering with how rough that plane path was.
Currently, there's 3 teams on the military island as well, with the plane path sort of ending up there. More likely for that sort of thing to happen. Novo, I think, is the goal for Tiamba to head out to the eastern side of that military island, but 2 players from Team Liquid are mirroring that rotation. Chief and Cardozin taking up residency. No, hang on a minute, I take that back. Diversion. Tiamba move up and go through Cardozin towards the east bridge. I mean, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how Team Liquid allowed that to happen.
I don't know how that happened either. It must have been an insane shot there, because Tiamba, we know they'd like to go towards Milta, and Milta is that place that they're heading towards. And Team Liquid, we're trying to find a way through towards that shelter area. That's the place they want to go. That's comfortable for them, especially with a zone like this. And it's super unfortunate when you get the perfect circle for your drop location, but the plane path just makes it that much more difficult.
The other duo from Team Liquid, they're completely split right now. I'm mildly baffled. Mythic and Ayala decide that they're playing on a different team from Chief and Cardozin, and they could be going completely the other direction. They're right in the middle. They're just southeast of Pachinki right now, and going to be moving a bit further out east. Olex IHC will be clashing with Twisted Minds. That's over towards Everest. In the meantime, looks like they've got 1 and 2 knocks as well, but they are split. Demo and Godless on a split from the other 2 as they managed to get a flush, and actually another knock. 3 of Twisted Minds now down.
Igor going down. That's their IGL hurt there, and we like to know that, you know, LIHC goes towards that South George drop. They know Twisted Minds are hanging out in crates, and it looks like they decided to take that fight a little bit early on, or at least try to punish them, and they punished them big time. Demo did, actually. He got all 3 of those eliminations, so Twisted Minds are going to have a rough one here, as Little IHC are happy to just take those 3 points and start heading into the next zone. The only team they really have to worry about is Alpha 7 if they decide to go and take a path on that bridge right above them.
Be interested to see where Alpha 7 try and dip down below the river, because it's very likely that the circle ends up down there. It's almost certain, in fact. But they are going to have to find a crossing. Reject currently controlling a crossing to the east side of Rozhok. That central island crossing, much more treacherous in general. If you don't know any scouting information towards Sunken City, let's take a look at the replay. The demo was just lighting them up. Ratto Boy going to be taken down, getting the sprays in. Nicely done. Alpha 7 trying to slow Reject down, but they're already across. There is still a presence on the northern side, though. Divine might be in danger if Alpha 7 find him.
Let's see if they do, though. It's going to be pretty difficult because they're going to have to find a way into this next zone. It looks like they're going to probably try to go through the Yasnaya side of things. Yeah, they're going to try to go extra safe here. And I can't blame them. They have to watch out, though, because TJB is starting to make that path from Severny. They could definitely run into them. I think Alpha 7 trying to play it as safe as possible. They got those gas cans good to go. Uh-oh, now we're going to see Alliance make some pop shots. This is what I'm talking about. It's a great opportunity for teams to try to get some extra points, some extra loot as well, if you can catch a couple of these big players on rotation.
IWNRX also trying to make their way in close to Team Liquid on these shelter entrances. They're going to take up residency here. That ridgeline to their south side, going to give them a bit of cover, but teams can occupy those hillsides and be a real nuisance to them on that angle. But they've got a lot of sight lines open to control the ground around them for the time being. Alpha 7, they managed to go all the way on the north side of Yasnaya now. And you're right, TJB potentially harrying the back foot of their rotation. I think it's Revo potentially bringing up the rear for Alpha 7, but it looks like he's just managed to slip the net of TJB and rejoin with the three teammates on the east side.
Well, a big opportunity for teams to start catching up on the leaderboards. We're already starting to see some good solid leaders. TJB with 30 points right now, sitting pretty. Still a lot of matches left to be played in this finals, but how you start really sets the pace for the rest of the tournament here, because things only get only more difficult every game as we go. So if you could start off with a nice strong lead, maybe you get a bad zone on day 2, it kind of helps mitigate some of that damage.
At the moment, first place in both group stage and survival stage has been a 10-point average, Hot Duke. So the fact that we've currently got only the one team technically on a 10-point average, because this is the 3rd match played, but really what we're looking at is 2 matches played, means that we've got 3 teams up on that record and DRX close by. A lot of early power being displayed, but that's generally quite typical, having only played 2 matches, to have 2 or 3 teams at that sort of level, because you have those chicken dinners being a lot more impactful overall. It unbalances things a little bit. But TJB on 30 means that they've already put the results up for this 3rd match as well to make a statement towards a 3-match 10-point average.
And let's see how they're going to do it. So they're going to head towards Yasnaya Fields. This is a very interesting spot. There's actually a lot of areas they could take. Yeah, you can see GK First is going to be holding that ridge line right there. Actually, it's a tree line. It's a beautiful, beautiful location in a zone like this. But it's still very, very early. We're still at stage 1. It just goes to show you how fast these teams rotate, folks. I mean, we haven't even popped stage 2, and pretty much everybody except 2 teams are already all set up.
They're looking to try and get in as well. Vampire pushing in from the southwest side. Haven't really had an impact so far. Sandhawk looked okay. Their first Erangel, not so much. We'll see if they can have a 3rd match resurgence. Central Circle looks like a donut on the screens right now. Hopefully, not too many teams going to be taking the dunk, though. And over on the east side, Alpha 7 looking to push in. TJB actually skirting the south edge of Yasnaya under the view angles of power. So potential danger there. Crossing those Yasnaya fields is always going to be treacherous.
Yes, it is. There's not a lot of coverage there. There are plenty of hay bales, but that's not a place you want to get stuck, especially so early in the match. Zone could go anywhere. You want to be able to put yourself in a nice, confident position with your vehicles nice and safe.
Ooh.
Uh-oh, let's go ahead and see what happens here as Boom Esports trying to catch Reject slipping as 3 of their teammates are driving. Uh-oh. Duello getting pieced up quite a bit.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, actually Obscure from Twisted Minds. From downtown, gets the knock with the Mini 14.
Last player alive for Twisted Minds as well. They're only down to 1, remember, with their scrap earlier.
That's
with
right.
Alula HC. They are going to be not really going to be able to go for that push, not going to be able to try and get this flush, but that stops Reject from most likely actually getting Duello back up. With Boom's position on the hillside, going for that rescue is going to be deadly.
You can see Sarah just punching the air right now, frustrated because they lost that player to a third party that they did not see coming. And that could be an extra point on the board for Twisted Minds. That's what it's looking like for sure. Next zone, of course, it did center on up. So a very, very common position for all of these teams. They all know this side of the map like the back of their hands. Team Liquid were able to get to their shelter area. They're not in the spot where they normally like to hold for the most part. And not to mention, they do end up being there with one player down. So let's see how they're able to continue on here. Meanwhile, we've always got to take a look at where TJB is. They are on top of the leaderboards right now. And they are holding that Yasnaya field position. And more often than not, we see a lot of circles go there. So very kind of smart play for them.
Looks like Reject are going to get that res with Boom moving up north to take control of a compound a little bit further away. The door got opened for Reject to make that rotation to pick up their player, and it looks like they're going to take that opportunity on the northern side. Now 2-2 for Reject. Boom a little bit further to the northwest. Alliance, they haven't really done too much so far in these first two matches, but on the south side, there's potential for them to have a pretty heavy scrap. But the same story is true for Vampire. They're starting to poke their noses in. And with the hills that they're occupying, it's going to be dangerous. Vampire trying to find the western side of this 2-2 split from Alliance.
Yeah, let's see where this next zone's going to go. By the way, folks, you see Alpha 7 all the way on the right side of the map. They got there all the way from North George. So they had one heck of a rotation to get here. And they were still able to find a position, and the zone goes towards them. So that crazy rotation paying off for now, but it looks like they may have to hold off Tiamba. I thought they were going to bite off further than they could choose. No, they said, you know what? Turn back around. We're going to all group together and fight for our lives right now, because we're going to see teams on a hurry trying to get in a better position for this next circle.
This elimination feed is about to pack real full right now. This south side is so congested. With Reject, they're just going to get out of there. They don't want to be involved. Obscure's going to try and keep his head down and keep Twisted Minds in this match. DRS currently holding this really powerful dip, but the compound that Tiamba are in right now, I'm looking at as being such an important linchpin position. Team Liquid, I think, a little bit closer to it as well. Sorry, they're in the compound I was thinking about. Going to be holding in such an important position to break those waves of teams approaching them from that southwest side. DXavier going to be a little bit short. That IWNRX going to find their way in potentially, and the fights are going to start to pop off. That's Reject in the center, but this south edge just going to get more dangerous. Vampire, Alliance, 4MV, IWNRX, all vying for the position to the west of Prison.
Oh, and they're going to battle it out right here the next few moments, folks. You can see Vampire Esports vehicle smoking, and they're able to pop out one tire. He'd be done for, but 4MV aren't able to get those shots off in time. Newsy full sending it on in, desperately trying to find a spot into this next zone, and it's going to be a tough one. They're going to have to find just a random shack or building here, or possibly even set up a car wall. And it looks like Tony K is going to just say, hey, this dip is where we're going to have to go. Unfortunately, they do end up making a sacrifice of stone.
Tiamba able to take that one down, playing in that central position. Team Liquid that forefront, but Tiamba that backup turret just taking shots across the way. Vampire lose a player to it. Boom. They're in their crater.
Yo.
That just funnels nades towards you, and with Alul IHC right next to you, it is so dangerous to be in this position. On the west side, no one's really close by. This is the south side of Yasnaya Fields in these craters. And in goes Demo. He's just getting that scouting information. Nearly goes down. That would have been curtains for him, but diverts, gets to safety.
A little IC have to time this perfectly here. You know, if you're going to try to drive up with the car, you have to have some other teammates to help support fire. And unfortunately, that timing was a little off. That nade, though, was way too close for comfort. Francie said, nah, I think I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and head back over here, guys. The smokes are starting to ring out, and I think Boom said, yeah, let's get out of here. This is not a fight we want to take.
These South Yaz craters can be treacherous, especially given that they're right on the western side of this circle. Means that you can take the fight, you can defend them, sure. You need to expend so much utility, which is what we saw come back to bite TJB in the last match, right? Sorry, Alula XIHC in the last match. So they don't really want to be spending this much utility to get rid of Boom. Boom are going to give ground. They don't want to spend the utility either, because it's not a prior position in this circle.
Next zone goes on up. Center is right down the middle. Talon looking really good. Another great shift for Alpha 7 as well. All they got to do is clear out their backs. Meanwhile, Reject are going to start popping some shots onto Boom. And yeah, I think he said, you know what, I'll take those shots and run because we need to find a better position in this circle. But they may already be too late. They should have been in their vehicles already.
Is this curtains for a skewer? Yummy's going to roll on over the rear axle, right to the skull. That's dangerous. That's deadly. And Twisted Minds are out.
Twisted Minds getting taken out mighty early on this one. The rough start for them. Like 5 points on the board so far. And that's going to hold on into the next match here. About to reach the second half of day one. IWNRX on the push.
Ooh,
here come out the shotguns. And starting to punish 4MV one by one.
Apex goes down next, and it's just Doc who's wondering what the hell just happened. This tower was supposed to be their sanctuary, but Doc has the spray down. 1, 2, maybe a third onto Kine. He's low, might just be able to pick it back together, get some healing done, but Doc is still so low. He can't risk this push. There's Swain on the off angle, goes for the third party peek. Doc's still the challenge. No, not quite. 2 players down for IWNRX. This is all the way on the south. They need these reses now and fast to be able to get into this next circle. Alliance are going to have heard this, looking for the third party. The remnants of Vampire are going to be holding them in place for now, but everybody else around is going to know that IWNRX are looking pretty shaky.
Everybody knows that Wizard Tower and IWNRX try to hold it on. Let's see what is going to happen, though, as Alliance are going to have to get in some vehicles here and get moving. They still have their entire team up, but they're in a very tough position. They can either decide to try and hug this and brisk it towards Mansion and head towards Alpha 7, or push right into Vampire, and that's exactly what is happening. They get one finish there, and Vampire are on the run.
Vampire keep expending players to get into positions further forward. Schwepp goes down. Tony K's making the dash to these vehicles that they've been able to actually get into a little bit of a ditch. But he's not going to last it out. Vampires go down, the vehicle goes up in flames, and so do they. Knocks over now towards IWNRX as DRX try and flow on through this position, and they might have finally gone down here. Swain is the last to stand. DXavier not having a good time either.
DXavier in a terrible spot here. They're just holding that edge, and it's nothing but open field right in front of them. So they're going to have to be able to do it with the M4s on their back. Swain has a great angle, but those smokes completely eliminated his sight lines. And right now, he's just trying to apply pressure, trying to pretend to be a whole squad. And it looks like it works because DRX go in the other direction.
I've got so many teammates right now, you don't even understand. I've got probably like 7 or 8.
That's right.
You can't push through that. DXavier going to be taking shots to try and clear their way through, but they roll up and out to the open. You just can't do that. Tiamba are going to spin you for 7 all the way to the 6 line. And they are going to add up 5 now eliminations.
Tiamba holding down this little mini Alamo right here, and it's working well for them. Now we see DRX Soez trying to drive away from this one. Team Reject pushing in little by little. They are in this zone for now, and that is DXavier out of there. Next zone about to pop. Will it center up once again? It does.
Talon pretty happy right now. They are chilling right at this moment in such a powerful compound. This Heaven compound currently held by Talon and Power. It's a 2-team compound, one on the high ground, which is currently on the south side for Talon, overlooking so much open terrain. And Power going to be stopping anyone from approaching. It's so difficult. We are probably looking at a top 2 finish for both of these teams. It is going to be so hard to make these moves.
It definitely is, because there's just so much open terrain. Then every team is just in a position where they can just hold on to even the slightest bit of cover. And these trees are definitely not big enough to feel comfortable at all. You can see Ayala started to throw some smokes out. The vehicles are starting to ring out, and they're going to have to make a very bold push. Looks like Mythic will lead the charge for his team.
I said it might be a top 2 for Power. I might have to eat my words there, because TJB are running them through from an approach on the northern side. This western edge getting dangerous now as Team Liquid try and stretch their legs through it, but it's open ground, and again, just sprayed down from every angle. Boom are taking them to task as well, and they are just getting cut through. Ayala and Chief now 2 players remaining. DRX holding on the road, somehow able to keep all 4 players alive, but they're going to have to move.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Mythic just kind of leapfrog there. Even though the position was tough, just head up to that little ridge line, get some information, and decide what to go from there. A full send at this zone is almost guaranteed destruction, and that's exactly what happened. You can see Team Reject, Divine, finding some angles on the DRX, and this will be a battle that'll ring out. But DRX has to decide what to do. Do we take this fight or hold on for now? because the zone is going to start pushing in the next few seconds, and that's exactly what is happening. Tiamba ringing out some nades, trying to punish Boom.
Boom need to dig their heels in here.
There's one.
They are in the zone and one of the very few teams on this western edge to be so. But these nades are going to tear through the health bars very, very quickly. The spray down from Frenzy only finds one, and Tiamba are looking to try and push them back. It seems to be going successfully for now. A nade over the top, can't find it. Into the smoke with a DBS. Now just Pondbit for Boom remains. And in the meantime, DRX are trying to move over the north side, but that's not going well. Everybody over at Heaven compound with a third party. Yummy goes low. Pondbit gets the heal. Tiamba up into the fight through the smoke, out wide, goes for one. Looks for another as well, but they have to be worried about his left flank. Can he find it? He's switching it up, but no, QZ handles business. And now it's Tiamba into the ditch. DRX looking to move on through because they've still got 4 players alive, and in for the third party they go. There's the crash. The vehicle goes on in, and it goes huge. They stay alive with 4, and on this western side, they might have just done enough to get to the top 3.
Beautiful timing there from DRX. Perfect third-party scenario to take out a monster squad. Now we look on over towards Heaven. You can see Talon holding it down in the middle of this zone, but they have to be careful because all eyes are on them. Alpha 7 have been lurking in the shadows right there near Mansion, waiting to strike. And that time may happen in the next few moments, but they're going to have to do it quickly, especially if that zone shifts towards the center of the map. Mafioso trying to pop some shots onto Alliance, possibly make their rotation a little bit easier, and the zone does center up once again.
Tell me you want Talon to win without telling me you want Talon to win this match. Oh my goodness. The position that they hold right now, the fact that they're not third-partying this is interesting though. They don't have too much control over towards Alpha 7, if they do, but getting rid of, or at least depowering these two teams to their south, or north, sorry, could be huge.
TJB has to make a decision here because you know that they wouldn't mind sharing this position, but I think they're just outside of the circle. So they have to make a push onto Power here with not a lot of information. Power has to do a good job of holding down this position because I will give the advantage to TJB. They know every single angle that Power could pick from, and one nade could spell disaster for both of these teams. But I am not sure. Is TJB right on the edge of that zone? If so, they may just be fine holding it out for now.
I think they are just outside, unfortunately, so they're going to have to be forced to take the fight or figure something else out. And quite frankly, there really isn't that much else to do for them. It is just a question of go, win, or you don't. It's a coin toss fight for them.
Watch this replay as Yummy gets the run over onto Obscure. I'm going to go ahead and get that loot, or he got that loot very, very quickly. Talon Esports just trying to do a good job of holding everybody off, and I think they realize, yep, we have to take this fight. You can see Power trying to throw some of those pre-nades out, maybe get lucky with a nice land, but it'll have to be perfectly placed and cooked. It's very difficult to hit a nade from their position.
Through the windows, Power trying to fend off TJB, current tournament leaders, 5 eliminations already. Talon still not going. Alpha 7 making their move. They're making the cross over the open ground, and they've made it to the ridgeline, and Talon not going to push them back too hard. Do they have nades in the back pocket? Do they still have anything left?
Talon couldn't see a thing. There was just nothing they could do. Alpha 7 are able to make it up for free. The only team that could have possibly made it more difficult for them was Alliance, and look at that, Rebel picking up those eliminations. Team Liquid bust them out the vehicle. Alpha 7 cleans them right up.
Just the one player from Team Liquid, actually, is Chief. Going to be looking to hold down the southwestern side of what is potentially a really strong spot for him. But the nades are going to start to pile on in from Alpha 7, and you've got to think if they're expending this much, they just want to get rid of this.
That's a lot, though. That's a lot of utility to waste there. Yep, and here we go. Here comes the push from TJB Esports on the push. And we do see Team Liquid go down, but we can just see Power trying to hold it down there with the DBS. A beautiful knock.
Only one player now remains for TJB, and it is GK first with the SK-12 from the bottom of the stairs, able to cut the ankles out from underneath El Hadji. Now we're 1 versus 1 as they're both just cleaning up the points. Either way, Talon, they're just hiding. They're just chilling right now. They haven't had to go for a third party because these two teams dismantling each other. GK first in through the door, or certainly wants to think he can, but Vidan, 3, 2, 1 shell left in the back pocket for the DPS. It's getting a little bit more hairy.
He's got to
GK
reload.
First doesn't have the reload. No ammo, what are you doing? You need to get the ammo in the clip. It's just not going to work like that. And GK first goes down. Power, stay alive.
Click, click, click. The worst sound that you could hear in a position like that. But who's going to win this match? That's the question. Talon, only 13 points on the board so far. 10 of those being from Sandhawk, that cleanup crew that we saw earlier. So they're very happy to play it safe to try to get some points here. But maybe they played it a little too safe because Alpha 7 is trying to hunt them down. But does Alpha 7 decide to take this fight right here, right now? That's very risky.
Talon have 0 eliminations from the strongest spot in this entire game. They have just been
What is Axel doing? What is he looking at? Like, Axel has no position, no business there because he has no sight lines. He cannot get any information from that spot at all.
DRX are allowed to move in. This is what happens when you're quiet. You now have 3 teams looking your way. Obviously, Fidan only a solo, DRX only a duo, but you can't move out the back of this building now. Alpha 7 have free fire onto your entire position from this ridgeline on the east side. You're now trapped in what once was a castle, is now a prison.
That's exactly right. I mean, when you just lay down and allow teams to push up on you for free, there's a certain time to play ultra passive, and there's a time to play ultra aggressive. And Talon, from their position, you want to play that aggression. They could have decided to hold this side out and hold that ridgeline and not let Alpha 7 drive there at all. But instead, they hold that building, let Alpha 7 push them for free, and now they're just getting picked apart little by little.
DRX, 2 players, Fidan the only one, but he's got the MG3 in the pocket. Could have been trying to lay down the law with the LMG, but nades are ringing out. They've heard this rotation. DRX know what's up here as Alpha 7 try and surmount their position. Talon still holding on the inside, and the nade takes down Power. Last player to fall.
Here we go. 3 teams remaining, folks. It is Talon. Mighty quiet right now, just hanging in what was the best position in the map.
Stop it, Alpha 7. Don't be mean. Talon are trying to sleep. They've been asleep for the last 20 minutes.
Hello, anybody in there? Rebels, you can see him leaning side to side. How about over there, guys? Where are you? Where are you? DRX on the other side, very happy to just hang back because they're hoping this fight rings out and they can come in third party it.
Yo, Talon have a point? That's crazy, dude.
Take it to the bank.
Unbelievable.
They're going to get some placement points here, but with how this all goes down, it's all about those elimination points. And when you had a position like that, it is risky to leave that nice little comfort safety building, right? But you got to leave it eventually. And now they're completely hard stuck. Like you mentioned, a castle has become a prison for them. This is stage 8. The zone's about to go into nothing.
It is just so tight now. DRX as well, though, alive with 2. Able to get into this game late. This is, again, afforded to them by the fact that Talon have been so quiet, right? Because at the moment, they've just been dropping people into the oubliette, not remembering them one bit. DRX have put the pressure on, they played on that western side, and they've made the crossing. Credit to them.
Let's see what they decide to do here, because Talon Esports, again, just playing it so quietly, not moving a muscle. You can see Yoru there. He does have a little bit of angles there. And look at this, Linux, he's staring inside the building. He has no information at all. He's just saying, all right, guys, come and get it. Because guess what? I know this zone is about to go into nothing. So I'm just going to hope for that. And if you try to enter this door, I'm taking you out.
I'm pretty certain that Alpha 7 have the inside of this circle right now. When it starts to close, it's just going to close and close and close onto the outside. Going to be pretty happy to just hold Talon out in the meantime. And they don't need to move a muscle. They're taking a leaf out of Talon's book. Why would you go for a push when you know that they're going to need to jump into your fire?
Hey, and you know what this does? This cools down all the rest of the players in this tournament because they're just sitting, waiting for this match to end. So I think Alpha 7 said, you know what? We're just going to leave it down to the last moment here and wait it out and hope for the best. This is going to be really tough, though, because Alpha 7, no, we cannot push this fight. If we do, DRX is going to come and third party us. So we're just going to wait for it to happen and hope for the best, and that's what's about to happen, folks. This is the last stage. This zone is closing. You can see the smoke start to ring out. Talon is trying to prepare their defenses for this onslaught that's about to come their way.
I love this. The smoke's being pushed right up to Talon, forcing them to go for really wide peaks if they want to step out and challenge, because they need to. Linux trying to get those nades up on this high ground. This could be the most important position. But is he exposed to DRX here? A nade over the top. The cook is there. It's right on top of Mafioso, but for some reason, looks like there was some terrain cover there.
He's got one more nade. One more nade, he has to throw it. Actually, he should be throwing smokes on that ridge line. Throw some offensive smokes, cut off the sight lines from Alpha 7. Make them have to push through the smoke blind.
Nade in.
You have to be able to place it just perfectly on the edge. Linux gets that last nade thrown, and it does hit one of the monster players of Alpha 7, being their IGL, Carrillo.
Another nade as well down to the low ground. They're trying to hurt this one. Over the back, there's another knock.
That's
Linux
huge.
is able to do so much from this rooftop.
DRX.
Also down, Carrillo going low as well. More nades coming in, and DRX in for the third party. 3 players up for Alpha 7 to try and hold. There's Talon, Flow over the top, but the 2 of them are down. Misery's there. Revo traded off Carrillo and McGrellan. Managed stand tall, but Alpha 7 swept aside. Talon have managed to make it work. The high ground from Linux is so impactful. But now, is it going to be DRX upsetting?
Oh, DRX just a little too late. They were on the move to third party it, but Talon wiped that one real quick. DRX, you have to push. You have no choice. You know they're hurt. Don't let them get these resets. Actually, they can't get up this hill.
There's no way up.
Put on your climbing shoes. Linux is on his way. Oh, they get the knock. But that is gonna be it. It's gonna be a Talon chicken dinner. That heaven position just proving too powerful for the rest of the lobby.
Talon, I mean, they won it.
They did.
They really win it.
Oh, they really won it.
I mean, but they really, I feel, okay, they won the fight with Alpha 7. I thought Alpha 7 had that one on lock, right? And it turned out that the circle actually closed on the high ground. I thought it was going to close a little bit further south.